Joe Eastman started in the Navy as a fireman recruit and finished as the executive officer of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Retirement did not stop Joe from constantly striving for betterment. 16 years later, he is using the skills he gained in the Navy to keep giving to his current community. Petty Officer Peggy Trujillo went to Philadelphia to meet him and found everyone seems to know Joe.
Joe's a great guy. He is definitely someone I can count on.
He has the respect that, of a lot of the politicians, of a lot of community leaders, that kind of stuff, to really put together a coalition of what's needed.
That certainly came from the Navy and military and being around all different types of military people, that you put something else besides yourself first. I knew for almost 25 years that I'd been in service, and it just seemed logical for me to continue that service somehow. Broad Street Ministry does an incredible job with Philadelphia's homeless population, the way they do their outreach.
Joe blends his 25 years of Navy experience with his natural people skills to help the veterans.
Another veteran asked me to do it. I went down there, like probably most people, with no expectations. And as I mentioned earlier, they're going to carry me out of there in a pine box, because it's meant that much to me, and it might be the most rewarding thing that I've done since retirement.
I see Joe as this sort of conduit. He can negotiate both worlds. He knows the military world and he knows the civilian world. And having that person that can be in both worlds at the same time is enormously helpful for us.
He has made a huge difference to this operation. Joe's a hero.
Veterans aren't the only people Joe helps. He also volunteers teaching English as a second language.
They're just amazed at the fact that he's willing to give so much of his time, not only to here, but to all the other organizations that he's involved in. And I think that just inspires them to, give back in this community as well, especially the English as a second language learners. It makes them want to be part of the community.
I'd always thought, having been an instructor in the Navy, that I might want to get involved with that someday. What I found is you're not really teaching English as we know. You're teaching, in many cases, survival. You're enabling people. You're teaching them in many ways how to get through their day here in America. And I think one of the more important things that I think we do is teaching the culture here in the United States.
The first time, I was very scared of speaking English, so I didn't say anything. And Joe said to me, "Don't be afraid of speaking English."
Joe's contact with the Asian community led him to start a town watch in Chinatown.
Traditionally, there hasn't been a whole lot of communication between the city government in general and the police department specifically, and Chinatown and the residents there. And I think Joe's efforts through the Chinatown Town Watch has bridged that gap. Chinese Americans are not apprehensive about reporting issues anymore, or coming forward and giving information, or letting us know how we can help them serve them better.
Look to give back, because they need people like those who are in our military out in our communities now. If we get the people who are in our military with the values that they've learned out in these communities, we're going to solve an awful lot of problems.